So there can be a major issue. For neurotypicals, affection is the fastest, most effective way of emotionally being restored. Here, no, you are invading my personal body space. When I talk to teenagers with autism, as I did this week with a group of teenagers who are concerned about their anxiety, and I said, when you're anxious, what do you want your parents to do? Leave me alone. Don't go near me. Don't ask what's the problem. I don't want to talk. Don't say anything. Don't hug me. Don't invade my personal body space. Now, the problem for neurotypicals is they try and do what works for them. And they need to know that Aspergerese or autism is a different culture. So you have a different way of emotional repair. Otherwise, neurotypicals are making it worse inadvertently in doing that. So there are problems with emotional arousal for both negative and positive emotions. Are a cactus with a prickly exterior. Because you have such a soft and vulnerable interior, you keep people away because they hurt emotionally. So you live successfully some distance from other cacti. The amount of affection water is 1 cup a month. Okay. But your mum or your partner is a rose in a rose garden that needs to be mulched and nurtured every day. You just have to feel sorry for them because they need that all the time. It's exhausting, but you've got to remember to give them 2 compliments a day. Right. So we have a program there on demystifying affection, but also explaining to parents and partners why the person with autism shows love and affection, but it might be in a different way. It's not less, but it's just a different way of showing love. Now, sometimes with that difficulty of being in touch with your body, we have new technology which can be incredibly helpful. And that's sports technology. Fitbits, for example. In autism, there can be a mind-body division. And often the mind is not aware of the body. For example, in Michelle and I, one of our teenage girl groups, we were talking about that sensory sensitivity and so on. Several of the girls out of 8 said, when I'm ill, I don't know in advance when I'm going to vomit. I am going along saying, bleh, where everyone else, I'll get to the toilet. You have all the antecedents to go. Here, it just happens, and you're not aware of the physiology of your body to be prepared for those components. Now, that means that when you are agitated, whether you are anxious or angry, you are going to increase your heart rate. And if you're not aware of that, we need technology of sports devices, of increasing signs of agitation. For those parents who may be tuned into this, this also means when your daughter goes to school and she's a goody two-shoes, perfect, but when she gets home, she's dreadful. And parents will say, I wish she was like she is at school at home, because they like that person who's very calm and so on. What you may have is then a measure of heart rate throughout the day, and you have it on a graph. And that can give data, evidence to the teacher that when you had a surprise test, she nearly lost it. Or when there was a replacement teacher in, when there was a transition even to a preferred activity, heart rate, boom, boom, boom. And what you find in autism is there are certain triggers, and it may be they can cope with 3, but on the 4th, they lose it. If you only go 1, 2, 3, I'm okay. But as soon as you hit the 4th, that's it, it's broken. But it also can teach you relaxation of sitting still, comfortably, looking at the numbers and concentrating on your breathing and thinking to make the numbers fall. So I don't have shares in Fitbits, but I find they're really good.
Wow, I would seriously love to try this one for just a week. Wear it all the time and see what happens when I'm at work, or when I'm at home, or when there is a stressor from work or elsewhere. What happens? I would really love to test that. I even found a study. The use of wearable technology to measure and support abilities, disabilities and functional skills in autistic youth. Advancements in health monitoring have allowed for the development of external wearable systems capable of unobtrusively capturing behavioral and physiological data in real time. These systems, referred to as wearable technology, are devices worn externally, built-in electronic functions utilized during the course of activity. WTs present intriguing avenues for monitoring health and functioning in clinical conditions. Unlike traditional methods of monitoring physiological activity and behavior, WTs have the potential to provide real-time and objective measures of activity during day-to-day life. This wearable device monitors signs of distress in people with autism and alerts their caregivers. A breakthrough piece of wearable tech could help people with autism by monitoring anxiety levels in real time. Yeah, that's the one I would love to try. The band, developed by Awake Labs, uses a combination of sensors and an algorithm to measure and track physiological signals. This allows parents or caregivers to better understand behavior and work towards preventing meltdowns. It would have a huge impact at home, in a classroom, or in daily routines. How does it work? A meltdown is an intense response to an overwhelming situation characterized by a loss of control, which may be expressed verbally, physically, or both, according to the National Autistic Society, a British charity. Ahead of meltdowns, many people with autism will show signs of distress. This is where the Reveal band comes in. By monitoring physiological signals such as heart rate, skin temperature, and sweating, and alerting parents and caregivers via an app when a person's anxiety levels are heightened, the technology can help to make meltdowns more manageable. It allows parents and caregivers to react early, potentially preventing meltdowns by using strategies to reduce anxiety. A real proof where you felt stress. You can say there. And there you would have to make adjustments, right? This could work for employees who are invalidated and not believed by employers that they have issues, feel stressed. I mean that for autistic employers in particular, because we deal with those issues here already. So, temperature, lightning, noises, sounds, body contact, smells, working hours, shared spaces, and so on. Or when your boss puts pressure on you to perform. I wonder how my heart rate actually looks like. So I would love to measure that. So if you wear such a device, actually you would have the evidence, right? Developed by a team at the University of British Columbia, it combines the latest in software design, biomedical engineering, and data analysis. We want to reduce problem behavior and increase the amount of what we call teachable moments. I have an issue with the wording here. Problem behavior. Remove the stressors, man. Then you don't have problem behavior. Okay. Anyway.
People need to realise those with autism work at school and in the work environment twice as hard as anybody else because they're doing the social and the cognitive. Now, we have a number of excellent publications. I'm going to do a promotion for this because Danuta, friend and colleague, who's based in Melbourne, has written an excellent book. She has a clinic in Melbourne called Unique You, which is for those with autism, girls and women. And she has a remarkable expertise. Also, Rudy Simone and Asperger's, one of the first books that came out, beautifully written.
Rudy Simone's book was, I think, the first one I read about female autism. But then, the one book that really made it click for me, that was Women and Girls with Autism Spectrum Disorder by Sarah Hendricks. This is such an awesome book. Then another book I can really recommend, I Am Lesbian Woman by Tanya Marshall. She has a whole list of characteristics for female autism, which is great. You can just tick the boxes one after the other. So I liked her book too.
There are other books by Karen McKibben, a clinical psychologist based in the United States, but she's done a huge survey of hundreds of women with autism throughout the world and come out with some particular patterns and ideas. For professionals, I strongly recommend this book. Also, oh dear, as a clinician, my concern isn't autism, not at all. No, it's different. Different way of perceiving, thinking, learning and relating. You found something more interesting in life than socializing. That's who you are. That's great. My concern is neurotypicals who can't tolerate anyone who's different and they have fun targeting anyone who's different.